It worked. Good. Hi, guys. We're here. We're not even going to play our opener. Give me a sec. Say hi, Dave. I'll start the intro just 1 sec. I'm going to say we're live. Sorry, guys. We had major issues going live.
So, hey, everybody, we had some technical things with
Okay,
StreamYard.
so let me do the intro now. Sorry, I'm messaging poor Michelle DeRoche, who's on after us. Apparently, if you have any more issues and you're watching the shows, StreamYard, what we use to produce, is having issues going live. So we apologize for the problems and taking a few minutes. So if you're just tuning in, you are listening live to UFO Paranormal Radio and United Public Radio Network, or UPRN as we like to call it. We're broadcast to you out of 105.3 out of Mississippi and 107.7 out of the beautiful city of New Orleans. And this is the thing at the foot of the bed. I am one of your hosts, and I'm going to introduce my amazing co-host. We didn't open with our usual intro. Hi, Howie. We're finally here. We didn't open with our usual intro because we didn't even know if they were going to let us go live. We've tried about 10 times. I finally closed the whole thing and reset a few things up, and it worked, thank God. So my name's Lorilei Potvin. I am a host of 2 shows on the network here, The Angel Rock on Monday nights from 6 to 8 p.m. And then, of course, this fun show, The Thing at the Foot of the Bed, with my amazing co-host and good friend, David Hanzel. I'm a Canadian, what am I? I'm Canadian psychic.
You're Canadian.
Yeah, I'm Canadian. Crystal Reiki energy healer, Akashic Records practitioner, spiritual teacher, and mentor. I'm a registered nurse. Well, retired, I guess you could call it, but I use my nursing every day. I'm also a budding animal communicator. I am well versed in the paranormal, having shared our own personal experience with the paranormal on the travel channels Paranormal Survivor, season 4, episode 9. And I'm well versed in near-death experiences, having had one as a toddler myself, and I've studied them professionally for over 40 years, I think, professionally and personally. There's a few things I did want to share with you guys. First of all, if you're enjoying what you're seeing, please like, share, and subscribe, as there's something for everybody on this network. I got to open my page here. It was all ready, and then I got all discombobulated. We've been trying to go live here, so we're so glad you guys are all popping in here. Thank you. What do I want to tell you? Yes, we have our own TV channel, and you can watch some of it. Well, actually, most of the shows, I believe we're almost up to 40 hosts on this network. And how you do that is you go to Roku and you're going to sign into the channel store. You're going to search for UFO space P as in paranormal. And there's going to be a drop down list. And you're going to be looking for about the 3rd or 4th one down. It says UFO space paranormal and United Public Radio. So this network has been around for 25 plus years, and we do broadcast in every country around the world, believe it or not, but 80% of our audience is only listening. So if you guys want to join in some of the conversation, we've got Howie here, we've got Contessa, we've got Cindy. We'll say hi to everybody in a few minutes, but how you can do that, because you won't be able to comment if you're listening, you can head over to UFO, Paranormal, and United Public Radio on YouTube and Facebook. You can head over to my YouTube channel, which is The Angel Rock with Lorilei Potvin. You can head over to my co-host David's YouTube channel, which is The Spirit Experience, and he's also broadcasting on Facebook under They Whisper to Me, that page. I am also, I'll share it when we're talking, broadcasting on my own profile on Facebook, which is public, so anybody can go on there. It's under Lorilei Potvin. I believe, I don't think I even hit go live on Instagram. I got so excited, I got to hit go live. We're broadcasting on Instagram too under the Angel Rock. If you are watching on Instagram, please don't think we're ignoring you. The comments don't show up in StreamYard just yet, so I have to pop in and out to say hello. So I hope you'll pop over to like even YouTube if you want. That's the easiest way. We're also streaming in Canada's Most Haunted. I think I've remembered everything. I think there's one thing I always want to do, though. I want to tell you guys about this. I'm going to promote it. So come hang out with us here in Thunder Bay, Northwestern Ontario, Canada, where I live. This October 4th to 6th for the Lake Superior Paranormal Convention. There are tickets available now. There's VIP Plus, there's Supernatural, and VIP Pass tickets, but they are limited. And as I understand it, the ladies putting this on, Gail and Mel Willis from Lucky Paranormal, are all over the UK right now having incredibly haunted paranormal experiences. I've been seeing their pictures. They're gorgeous. So make sure you check that out. There's going to be a paranormal investigation. There's going to be talks, workshops, and vendors. Some of the guest speakers will include Shane Pittman Jeff Belanger, our own Carrie Lynn Shellhorn. She has her own show here on Fridays from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time called Spirit Switchboard. She's an incredible medium, psychic, paranormal investigator, and she's an absolute sweetheart. I cannot wait to meet her in person. She is actually hosting a special event on the Sunday of that paranormal weekend here in my city. It's called Spirits and Sweets. So she's going to be giving messages from spirits while people are sitting around enjoying delicious desserts. There's also going to be the travel channels Beyond the Haunting, Chris Rutkowski, and he talks about UFOs and Bigfoot. A lot of people have heard of him, but if you haven't, he's going to be covering that area. We've got Dee McCauley from Dark History. He's from around our area here, and he's been on the Angel Rock, the Winnipeg Paranormal Group, and many more, including me. I'm going to be doing a talk too, and I'm going to have a table there. I'm making all kinds of Halloween and spiritual stuff. I was working on it before the show. So, Dave, take it away finally.
Oh my goodness. I won't have a booth there and I won't be speaking. I won't be in Canada, but please go see Lorilei Potvin and everybody over there. And they might be streaming it live. As you had said before, they're trying to do something where it can be streamed. My name is David Hanzel, and I am a spiritual medium. And I am also pretty well versed in near-death experiences. I've been probably researching them since 2015 when I myself had a near-death experience. And also, if you are watching The Thing at the Foot of the Bed here, remember that we do have a Facebook group called The Thing at the Foot of the Bed with Lorilei Potvin and David Hanzel. Please go ahead and join that group if you can. And you can see like the stuff that we post on here, the videos that we watch, you can see in there, or you can share stories you'd like us to talk about, or just share stories with the group, or you can put pictures up. It doesn't have to be scary, spooky. This isn't all about scary. It's just about the paranormal, the metaphysical, and all things strange. So keep that in mind. And hello, Mish. Hello, Nancy.
Shall we start at the top, or you want to go from the bottom?
Yeah, well, we could either way. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, let me
start from
scroll
the top.
up to the top. Okay, so we got David and David, and then we got Howie we said hi to. So we'll start. We got Contessa. You want to keep going down the list and I'll scroll?
Yep. Hi, Contessa Martins. Hi, Marissa Burrell, Michelle Wilfong, and Contessa Martins. I think we said that already. Hi, Cindy Simpson. Hi, Spoon Lee. Yep. And Diane Brighton. Hello. Miss Julie Bassett. Miss Julie Bassett is here, everybody. And there's Nancy. We got Nancy already. And Mish, it's good day.
Well, it's Friday over there already, so she's probably getting ready for a weekend, getting ready for work.
Oh, thank you, Nancy. That's so nice. Thank you. Okay. I appreciate that.
Well, I'll read it for you. It says, Nancy said, Nancy Noonan Kelly, David is an amazing medium. He did a reading for me about 1.5 years ago, and it was spot on. And hello, Nicole Thomas.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that. I can't take credit for it, you guys. I'm just the mediator.
I'm myself a male person.
Yeah, I'm the translator. And I love it. I love it. And speaking of that, I think, well, I guess we could talk about that. We've Lorilei has got some fun videos for us to watch and comment on. And I know last time we were here, what were people asking about how they work on their own connections and all this other stuff. I just made a video on TikTok because Lorilei, a lady asked me, a medium was telling people that if they over try connecting with somebody,
I'm already sus.
In the world, that they that it will block them. And I
was already sus. The first few words out of your mouth. Are you freaking kidding me? Hi, Sandra.
Yeah, I mean, and I had said, because I didn't quite understand exactly what she was meaning, what this medium was saying. I didn't want to be nasty, but I will tell you. You're not
limited.
Yeah, you're not limited. I mean, personally, me, I don't summon anything. Like people always say, David, do you talk to dead movie stars? I'm like, well, not unless I actually have something I need to ask and it's for myself or something, because I could sit here and say, I've got Joan Rivers on the line here and she says this, that, and the other thing, but how could you possibly validate that? So it's just me.
I connect with who I'm going to tell you. and it was through another medium and somebody else I work with very closely. We get together at least once every week, every 2 weeks, and we connect with spirit. We do connect with two famous people. One is a past movie star, and we were able to validate some of the stuff we were told. So we know it was true because it was things that were not out in the public, but some digging and some of the facts and information. The other person was in the science world. And a lot of the stuff they've told us, including scientific information, names, all kinds of stuff that we've never heard of. You look it up and everything we were told was true.
See, now you are doing it the right way. I always tell people, if you're going to contact someone over there, make sure you can get some validation so you know exactly who it is.
Well, I'm going to tell you this right now. I am still, all three of us have talked about this. We're not 100% in agreement that the spirit that is explaining or saying who they are. But in over almost 4 years of doing this, we have never been steered wrong. They've never come through negatively. They've never come through. And some of the information they give us, we have no idea what they're talking about. A lot of it comes in puzzle pieces, and we have to put it together. It's too much to talk about. We could do a whole show on it. But the thing is, you have to be careful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you do. I have to say, in the years and years and years and years and years that I've been talking to spirit and stuff, never, ever, ever have I once got a negative thing said to me to do something negative or anything. And
I don't think I have either. Even with the negativity and the haunting. Mind you, I didn't communicate with what was there. I had no interest in communicating with what was there. And it's never, because that's a warning sign, right, Dave?
Oh, I think so. I really do. If you're connected to a spirit and it starts spouting out negative things, I would say cut that connection right there. Or I don't know.
Well, I always say to people, okay, because we can all do this. And the reason why I believe it is you just take a look at little ones that can barely even walk yet. They're toddlers. I mean, I've looked at this for years. Most children, I think, can see spirit. How many times have we heard of kids with imaginary friends or kids saying, "Mommy, who's that man over there? Who's that man over there?" And mom's going, "There's nobody there, dude." "Yeah, there's someone there. They're waving," whatever, right? I've seen hundreds of video clips like this. So where does that go, right? With life and whatever, and you get told you're too old, it's your imagination, life starts to happen, and you think, okay, I guess, I need to grow up. Some people hang on to it their whole lives, but I kind of look at it like, and I'm oversimplifying, it's like riding a bike. Are you always going to be maybe an amazing medium or no, it's just like anything in life, right? Like some people are born natural born mathematicians, natural born athletes, singers, whatever it may be. But does it mean that you can't do other things? Learn to do it by putting the effort and the work and the practice into it. You can make, I think, some semblance to getting it back. Julie just said, yes, I agree. Kids are so open to spirit. But Michelle, I know you were being facetious, but I think it's a good question.
Okay. Yeah, I can really elaborate on this one.
Okay. Well, Michelle asked, can you talk to the sun? Ask what its plans are. You want to go first?
Yes. Every planet, every society out there on every planet, whether it's Earth or some other planet, some constellation or anything, has something called the logos, and the logos is usually the sun. So the sun is how you want to. The easiest way to think about it in human terms is the sun is an extension of God. I guess you could say. So the sun does have a consciousness, and yes, you can communicate with the sun. I mean, what you want to ask?
It's a remote view on the sun. You're not physically going there. You're going with your consciousness, and everything does have a consciousness. Yes,
absolutely. And the sun is our logos. So the sun is our giver of life. If we don't have that sun here, we can't really do much here. We gotta have it. If people are saying, because there's some stupid stuff going around, like the sun's gonna burn out and all this other stuff, I will tell you this, and I had made videos on this before. Because of the nature of how the spiritual works and how just physicality in general works, like the end of the world or anything like that, there are people who may want to experience that. Therefore, they will have an experience of the ending of the world or the ending of the sun or anything, but is it actually ending? No. Think of yourself as being kind of in a video game that has many, many different stories. So as far as I'm concerned, no, we're never going to see it unless one of you guys are weird enough to go, I really want to be at the end of the world. I want to see the zombie apocalypse. Okay, we'll go for it. Have a good time. But I won't be there.
Well, the theory is, then I'm going to start with Contessa's questions. And hi, Jojo Walsh, we see you. Nice to be here, everybody that's here. And I'm going to answer Kasoon's question too, or comment too. Okay, so I agree with you 100%, right? And we switch timelines all the time as human beings, but we don't realize that we do. But the theory out there, especially when you get into quantum physics and things, is that there is a version of you of every single thing that could possibly think that you maybe thought of or you wanted to experience. And we can switch timelines. So I agree with you. If you really want to create that or experience it.
And those versions become active when you focus on it. So like in the beginning of the show, now, if this will freak you guys out, but just for fun, the Lori and Dave you see right now, the Lorilei and David you see right now are different than the Lorilei and David that you saw in the beginning of the show. Because as you go through each moment, you change. You're always brand new. You're always going into a moment that's going to coincide with what you need to experience. So
that's called the now, though, right?
Yeah,
and
that's called the now.
Now,
exactly. So like Lorilei and I, if you look at it this way, we're sharing a frequency. We both have the same outlook for something to happen, is in a very general way. So we both know we're on the frequency that we're both doing a show. This show exists to us. You guys exist to us. And you guys have also agreed to be in this show and have this experience with us. So it's really cool when you think about it. I mean, I always tell people, if you want to strengthen anything spiritual or psychic about yourself, just start looking past what you see, because what we see is, don't you agree? There's like way more past. I mean, if I held up my hand like this, you could just say David's holding up his hand. Although you could probably, if you dug deeper, figure out a billion different reasons why it's my right hand, why my fingers are spread. I mean, I don't even know. But I mean, there's always a reason for everything, and there's always something behind it.
You have to be open. You have to be open to the possibility of what your belief system is in this moment, especially if you're going to travel along this path, and be open to seeing things you never saw were possible, never believed were possible. Like, I'm not talking about, well, maybe there is. I was going to say one-eyed, one-horned, flying purple people eater. No, as far as I know, nobody's seen one of those, or they exist. But what my point is you have to be open to the unusual and the strange. And you don't have to look for, I mean, if you really want to, you could. But my point is, you're going to see things and experience things when you choose to reactivate what you have, as I call them, gifts, because I think they are gifts. Some people will argue with me that they're not. And Julie Bassett, yes, I agree, kids are so open to spirit. For example, Contessa Martin, have you ever communicated with a serial killer? I'm going to answer this. I know Dave will answer it. No. And the reason why is I have no reason to want to communicate with a serial killer. I guess if I really wanted to, I could ask. But the other thing that people need to understand is, just because I may want to speak to somebody as a medium or a psychic or whatever it is, that if I'm hoping to connect with somebody on the other side, they have free will too. So there's no guarantees that they're going to show up to have a communication with me. Would you agree?
Exactly. And same answer. Have I ever, with the serial killer? I have zero desire, although when I was with someone one time, we were doing this meditation together and just bringing up people. I tapped into a very famous serial killer, which by the way was not terrible. And it was what was that guy, Jack the Ripper?
Okay.
So and he wasn't. And the information I was getting, he was speaking to me about him as being a doctor, because he was a doctor.
Mm-hmm.
And telling me kind of the reasons why he did what he did, and telling me that it would be hard for me to understand it because I'm not in the timeline he was at that point. So people knew things and didn't know things at that point. So our whole way of thinking changes all the time. Not to say he was a good guy, and was he remorseful? I don't know if he was remorseful because he literally came here to do that. And some of the victims literally came there to be that victim.
Plus, there's karma involved from past lifetimes. It's not payback.
Yeah.
It's you're going to experience if, say, somebody was a serial killer in a previous life or many lifetimes ago. You're going to experience from the perspective of what you've done, basically.
Exactly. And I don't know. And I took everything with a grain of salt, although the message was really good. And the message was a teachable message that what they were doing in that timeline in order to discover something was not the best way to go about it. So they were literally against hurting people.
So what I was going to add to this too. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Dave.
No, that was it. That was all.
Sorry. I have a bit of a delay for anybody here, so I don't purposely talk over Dave. He knows that. In case you guys don't know that, he knows it. So if you're really interested in that, and if you're open-minded, there's a great channel out there now. She still does these videos, but I noticed she's evolved into scalar type healing. It's Elisa Medhus with Channeling Eric. And she's done a lot of videos. She asked me actually to come in as a guest medium a few years ago. I just didn't feel comfortable to do it back then. So I politely declined. But she brings in mediums, and her son Eric is on the other side. He took his own life, and it's quite I followed it for many years back in the day, and went right to the beginning of the story and what had happened. And, Lisa being a medical doctor and an atheist, the whole family was to where they've shifted to now. And so what they do, and you can believe it or you don't have to, see if it resonates with you. That's the best way to be a guide, because that's how I'm going to answer this comment with Kasoon, is that she, through the medium interviews, she's interviewed serial killers. She's interviewed all kinds of people through the medium and with Eric's help, and if the person will come through on the other side. With that being said, though, she's also faced a lot of backlash, but I will tell you, she may now, but she never took a donation. She paid out of pocket for herself to bring the medium in. And she's taken a lot of flack over the years for what she was trying to do. And I've listened to some of the interviews. I can tell you, there was one time, as most of you know, I have an adult son with severe autism, and they did an interview with Eric, her son, about the purpose of a child coming in with autism. I was in tears, and I don't cry very well, or very well, or very easily. And it was some of the most beautiful healing messages I'd ever heard about some of the choices. Again, resonated with me. It may not with you. The same thing with this. Kasoon says, I wish a medium would solve the JFK mystery once and for all, or Marilyn Monroe. What I'm going to say to you is, I believe they have been solved. I believe in my. Well, let me finish, David, and then go ahead and jump in. I believe for myself, I know what those answers are. Now, again, it resonates with me. It makes sense. And you have to look at the reason why they haven't been solved. Then you go down the whole conspiracy theory, which I hate that word. I call it truth seeking. Go ahead, Dave. You can jump in there. But I believe they have been solved. You can solve it on your own if you dig deep enough.
Yeah, you can. I believe that they are solved, and I believe that people know. The people that don't know, sometimes there's no really reason. I mean, the only reason some people want certain things solved is for their own purpose of just going, oh, I can lay that to rest now. I can understand the family wanting to know and all that, but just as a whole, it really doesn't matter. Because we're not involved in that. If you put, like Lorilei said, if you put yourself in the involvement, start studying it, start reading about it, start doing that, you'll get your answer. you'll get
Well,
you.
you have to do is look and use discernment, same way as we're talking about with, your spiritual path, or looking into how you deeper, sorry, my mouth doesn't want to work, how you evolve your gifts deeper.
Yeah.
And you can do it. Like, that's part of the thing of being a human being. We have no idea, and we've never been taught how incredibly powerful and gifted we are. And I am telling you, you are limitless. Like, your mind is so powerful, your words and your thoughts. I really believe that. So I wanted to also, Jennifer says, soul contracts are real. You choose to experience everything you do. I agree. And then, hi, Ryan C. Jones. And then Jojo says, I have always believed that spirit choose you and we don't choose them, that know who they want to speak to and who they trust. You want to go first on that, Dave?
Yeah, well, it is. Listen, it's kind of like with channeling Eric. Now, I used to watch channeling Eric, but after a while, it got a bit much for me. But I do like the channel. But
well, you don't have
the thing I stopped not watching it when the mediums kept changing out, and it's not that they were bad mediums, but here's the deal, you guys.
I miss Jamie in the beginning, Jamie Butler. I do.
I like Jamie in the beginning until she did the live channeling where she apparently brought him in and did all his actions and stuff. When I was watching,
that was weird.
Yeah, that one I didn't care for at all. I was like, I don't know. But I'm not saying that she wasn't doing it. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, for me, I was like, very cringy for me. But with medium,
but she
even like
she admitted it was cringy and creepy after too.
Yeah, it is creepy. Even if let's say if she asked me to be on her show, you would get a whole different perspective of Eric. And the reason why is because, and that's if he would speak to me, like you said, that's if he would say, dude, you're not going to do me any good, so we're just not going to connect. But we are the filter. I always tell everybody, we're like a coffee filter, okay? If you pour water into a clean coffee filter, it's going to come out clean water. But if you have a lot of crap in the filter, it's going to come out icky brown water. So if you're a medium, you've got to put everything aside. I mean, literally everything aside. And then you're still going to interpret the message through what you've learned so far during this lifetime. So we have a Rolodex in our heads. I always tell people that it's like I can feel them going through my head sometimes, trying to pick out something. I guess that's the way I put it. Trying to pick out the right word or trying to pick out something. I think my favorite description of how some of that works is, I think it was what's the name? Abraham. Abraham Hicks. Not a huge fan. I like Abraham Hicks. I really do. There's a lot of good stuff to hear about it.
There is. Yeah.
My problem with it is that so many people put short clips of it, and then people say, I don't understand this. Well, you can't watch 10 minutes of it and all of a sudden manifest $1 billion in a new car. It is a little bit more to it.
Well, let me jump in here because I'm going to add something, Jojo.
Real quick, but she had said, when what happens is the same thing, and I related to it because I'm like, oh, I get that. I get to a point when I do any mediumship or channeling type thing where I know that I'm struggling with the words. I'm struggling. So I literally sit back and go, just you tell me what to do. I'm giving you myself. And what happens is I get these blocks of thoughts of all this stuff, and then I just translate it into words. And that's all it is. It's blocks of thoughts that I translate, but I've got to translate it through my experiences. So that's why I said, if I were to channel Eric, I probably might translate things a lot differently than other people.
But I think Spirit would know that and would know who they're working with. Because I wanted to really answer this. So again, Jojo, it's up on the screen for people listening. And Jojo, and it's an interesting thought. That's why I highlight it. Well, we love all of you here. We do, and we appreciate you guys being here. Otherwise, Dave and I would be having an interesting conversation on our own. But you guys always add so much to the show. So always thank you for being here and all you add. So she says, I have always believed that Spirit choose you and we don't choose them, that know who they want to speak to and who they trust. I'm going to give you my perspective, and it doesn't mean it's right. I always say none of us are going to know all the answers till we go back home. I believe on the other side, we are coming from a place only of love. So in order for us to try and understand things from the other side, we're sort of coming from a human perspective. So I don't necessarily know if it would be that they choose who they can trust and who they want to speak to. We have free will on the other side, but I got to be honest with you, I don't think I've ever run into a spirit from the other side that has passed along a message saying, no, I don't think I want to talk to this person. I just don't choose to, and I don't trust them, because they know and we will be the same too when we go, as I call it, going back home. We're complete, we're whole, we're eternal soul energy, if you want, whatever you want to call us, but we only come from love. Okay, so there'll be maybe another reason why they're not coming in. I believe that we there's many roles we play on the other side. I believe there's healing, they're healers. I've had other people come through or share from near-death experiences even, that they're upgrading, if you will. As I was just having this conversation, not on air, but off air, to become a spirit guide, for example, like a true spirit guide, there's a lot of training and a lot of experience that we go through for many lifetimes. Again, I could be all wrong. And I'm not saying, Jojo, your thought is wrong in any way. I think it's cool that you shared this. And that's what we're talking about, discernment and resonance. So for people that heard our 3 different perspectives, take what resonates and leave the rest. And that's the beauty in all this, right? And I can tell you, anybody, when we go through life, not as just a psychic or a medium or following this spiritual path, anybody, we grow and evolve as human beings. I can tell you, I don't think the same things I thought 5 years ago.
No, like different people. Yeah, because when I look back at my past, I always tell everybody my past, my shady past that I don't like, I said to myself, or my guides have said to me, well, that's not your past anymore because you're a new person.
And you're not going there.
Yeah, and you're not going
there.
It's not my past anymore. I learned the lesson and I went on. As far as like spirits coming in, though, I've had a couple times in my lifetime. I remember it distinctly one time, a gentleman was with his daughters and wanted to talk to somebody on the other side. And you know what? They would not come in. I could not get them. And I felt so terrible. I'm sitting there going, I said, I am so sorry. I said, I've got nothing. I've literally got nothing as we were going. And I said, I know it's who it was. And I said who it was. And they're like, yeah, that's who we want to talk to. I said, well, they're not talking to me. So I'm sorry. So I said, I'm going to return your money. And if you would like to rebook in a week or 2, go ahead or whatever. Well, anyway, they did rebook. And it was about like 3 months later. And when they came in, that woman came in, boom, 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 with the best evidence in the entire world. I found out when they contacted me the first time, she'd only been gone for like less than a week.
Yeah.
And that's what she was telling me. She's like, they were too heartbroken and they weren't going to understand the messages at the time. But after those couple months went by, they understood and they got it. And we were all happy.
No, but that's what I was going to add, because spirit sees and knows all. And when I say spirit, I'm talking collective. I know, but people listening, all on the other side, if you will. Okay, they can see the big picture. And I've had this conversation recently with a couple clients who are desperately still grieving and missing their loved ones. And I've heard this many times, as I'm sure you have, David. They'll say, I don't feel them anymore. I don't think they're here anymore. And one in particular, they were saying that. And I was getting the message sort of we were joking, I think before we started, I call myself the mailman or mail person, that it wouldn't serve a purpose for them to keep coming through in this particular time right now, to sort of take a step back a little bit. They're still there. They're still with you. Right. And the same with you, David. They were not in the right space or mind headspace, if you will, time to be communicating just yet. So when the timing was right, it worked out beautifully.
Yeah, it worked out beautiful. And then I've had people come in the day of. It all depends. It really does. I can't tell you what people always ask me questions about spirits on the other side. And I'm like, I can't tell you what every spirit over there is thinking, feeling, and doing. I can't tell you.
Jojo, first of all, I want to express how sorry I am. We are. She shared for the loss of your daughter. And she says, I lost my daughter, Gemma. She was only 8 months old. No one has ever said how she is doing or if she's with her family members. I can tell you right now, your little girl is healthy, whole on the other side with all of her family. She is safe and sends you her love. Okay, David, you can add whatever you want to that, but I'm so
No,
sorry
what
for the loss.
it's and I'm sorry, and I'm not doing a reading because I'm not really connected, but I heard it, so I'm just going to ask you about it. What does 13 or the number 13 or right around 13, like, was this 13 years ago, or would she been 13 years old or 13 years? 13 is a number that comes up. And as soon as Lorilei was talking, it was like 13131313, and I'm like, okay. So I don't know what that means. If you're here, you can go ahead and let me know.
But she's
There's a
safe, and they're always
yeah, they're always safe. I can tell you that much. They always are. Sometimes, sometimes if a youngster like that doesn't come through, it's not as much that they don't want to. That sometimes it might just be so subtle that we might just be missing it, or that spirit in their greater wisdom, because they have it right now, in their greater wisdom might be saying, it's not good for me to stay with here and kind of let them live their life, and why I stand by and just watch and experience.
I'm going to add another reason why. And I've
Go
seen
ahead.
this before, and I'm not necessarily saying about your Gemma this way, but with having studied past lives, and I've been very fascinated about children who remember their past lives. This story, again, I don't cry very easy, but it had me in tears, and I'm not going to do it justice, but I'll say it very quickly. And I think it was The Ghost Inside My Child. Like, what a terrible name for a show, but it gives people the idea, I guess, of what the show's about. And this woman was sharing the story of how she had had miscarriage after miscarriage after miscarriage after miscarriage. She didn't think they were ever going to have children. And she got pregnant, and she had a little boy. And the little boy was started around 3. He kept saying to her from time to time, Mommy, I'm so glad I finally decided to stay with you and you be my mommy. And as he got a little older, she, oh, okay, well, I'll get to your answer in just a second, Jojo. And she got a little bit more information, and he was able to tell her that basically, and I'm really simplifying this, that every time she had a miscarriage, it was his spirit, but he would get scared and want to go back home. Now, can I verify that? No. This is out of the mouth of a child. Is it true? Is it not? There's not really a way to verify it. But basically, the way he was able to explain it was he felt that he was brave enough and he could stay, is what his words were. There's many other reasons why we have miscarriages. I mean, there's all kinds, but it's an interesting thought. Now, hi, Faye Ewing Garza. Hi, Ruth Kleber. So do you want to read that, Dave? It's for you with what you had given her, Jojo, about her daughter.
Oh, there we go. We're back.
Oh, okay. So I'll read it then. Okay, so she said her daughter Gemma would be 33 years old now, and I have lost 13 children.
13 children.
13.
I'm so sorry. Well, I'll tell you what, then hopefully that's a little bit of validation that everyone's fine. Everyone. So yeah, they're all with you, Jojo, and you will see and feel and touch and know all them again. They really will.
I wanted to go back to Kasoon's comment here. He was saying, and we come to this meat sack, bang, we forget it all in the cosmic joke. And that can be a way of looking at your life when you're here, that your body is just a meat sack and it's a cosmic joke. But I think it's all about perspective too. And how I had said earlier, how powerful our thoughts, our words, and our emotions are. And again, I'm not saying that's wrong. I never tell somebody it's a wrong or right way to think. But if we are really powerful with our thoughts, right? And you start looking even at the human body. And I come from a medical background, but the reason I say that is, would I have learned this in the medical field? No, but from the path I've traveled now, the human body is one of the most incredible, miraculous things that's ever been created. It's really, it can be self-healing. We renew our skin every 7 years, and we actually do, even with our organs and what have you. Go ahead, Dave. I could tell you had something to say.
No,
so it's
I was going to say,
perspective is where I'm trying to go.
If you can look at it whatever. As far as a cosmic joke, I'm just going to tell you something. I used to think that years ago because life was such a bummer until I knew more and more and more. It's literally a necessity that you forget everything, because it's just, this is a poor example, but it's an example. So say you went and you bought the game Monopoly. And when you went home, you're going to play the game with everybody. But when you opened it up, there was instructions that said, okay, roll a 3. And then after you roll a 3, just roll a 6. And when you roll the 6, buy that house, and then roll the 9, and then buy these hotels and do all this. And then you will just win the game. Okay. Why would you bother playing the game? You wouldn't play the game. They don't want you to. Now they do come in and they say, okay, now what if you did this? Here's the game of Monopoly. We're going to let you know that you're probably you're gonna have a chance here. You're gonna probably run into something here. There's a good chance this might happen, and then you could go to jail. But let me know that if you go to jail, you're probably not going to repeat those steps again. So if you've learned it already, you won't go to jail. So we do have leeway when we come here. I always tell people there's not just one soul contract. You have a soul contract, and then when you come here, you make soul contracts with people. In fact, if let's say your friends, you have a friend, Betty. So Betty calls you every Monday and says, hey, come with me to the swap meet. And you're like, no, I don't want to go to the swap meet. And you keep telling Betty every week, and Betty's getting mad. So you say, Betty, tell you what, I will go next week. And then once you said that to Betty, you just started a contract. So next week, if you say no to Betty, then there's going to be emotions and feelings that need to be figured out between the two at some point in this lifetime, or something's got to come back to you. The best thing for me in those situations is I would just say, Betty, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm maybe not a big swap meet person, but you know what? I promise you, the day that I really feel I want to go, you're the person I want to go with, and I'll call you. That would be a little better contract than just leading Betty on. Okay. So, yeah. And then you have these contracts too. They could have said, you know, hey, Lorilei, you're going to have this life. This is what you want. We're going to let you know right around 35, you're going to get addicted. You know, you're going to have some addiction issues because you want to know how to get rid of your addiction.
And that's not true, by the way.
Yeah, it's not true. I'm just using it because it's funny. Me and Lorilei are the least addicted people at this point.
Yes.
But so they tell.
We were talking about it before the show.
Yeah, we're talking about
on your mind.
And I thought not use the people that we know. I thought use us because it would be more fun. So at 35, when she comes up to that addictive part, she knows there's a chance that she might not survive the addiction. She knows that she could survive the addiction and she could go on to live the rest of this. But there is a very good chance that during this part, if she doesn't fix it, she's going back home. Her soul knows this.
Exit
and her
point. That's a built-in exit.
That's an exit point. So it's a possible exit point. So, and we're aware of these things. You know, I can probably go back and probably give you about 6 or 7 different exit points I've had so far. I don't believe there's a certain number. I don't know. There might be. Some people say there's 7. Some people say there's 5. Some people say there's 3. I say there's
any limited number. I think.
Yeah, exactly. I don't either. I think there's as many as you would need at this point. But yeah, we have those different things. It's just like my NDE. I kind of see it as a reset. I might have said to myself before I got here, David, if you don't get with it and do that, you're going to need something to bring you back to what you need to do. And so there's a possibility you could get sick and have this and that happen to remind you. Yes. And that's what, and that's exactly what it did. It reminded me of where I wanted to go. And if you ask anybody who's ever had an NDE, a true NDE, literally your life is not the same. It's not going to be the same. There's
When
no
you come
turning back once you had it. And it's lovely. It's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. But there is no turning back. You have it. You now have this knowledge, and you now can go forward. I look at my NDE as the biggest gift I ever could have gotten, even though it was very, very tough.
No, I agree. And I agree with 100% of what you say. Now, I have a theory that I'm going to mention. You guys are asking great questions and great comments tonight. Thank you. I believe that, and you'll heard this before, old soul, new soul. And I don't know everything. I could be completely wrong. But it seems to me that the people that I have met, that when we've all met people, when you meet them, you think, oh gosh, that's an old soul, right? I kind of feel that way. And most people that I think have had a lot of past lives, all of us have. But those of us that have lived a lot, it always seems that they have a pretty challenging life, let's put it that way, right? From being they've never had the Brady, some people have, but most that I've met have had like this, not the Brady Bunch or Leave It to Beaver or whatever, I don't know, Cosby Show, maybe that's a bad example, but you know what I mean. Wonderful childhood, growing up, and there's no issues, and life is wonderful and amazing. They got a lot of challenges and a lot of healing to do and inner reflection and so on. With that being said, Contessa Martin says, do you think that we include exit points in our life plan so we have options to choose whether we stay or go at that point? I'm not sure if that makes sense. I'll answer it first and you go ahead, Dave. So yes, I do. And I think that if we've built a particularly difficult lifetime, which we will, because that's the potential, I believe, where you're going to have the most opportunities to grow. But if you have a really difficult life planned ahead, I believe, yes, you can build in exit points, but I don't even think it has to be a difficult point. Life I've met and ran into, even in my research, of people who have had NDEs, they've had a beautiful life. And it's been incredible. And then they have an NDE and they do a complete 180 after, because I've yet to hear of or have met a person who's had exactly what David just said, an NDE, and you are not the same when you return. So yes, we can. I believe that absolutely. Go ahead, Dave. I know you got lots to add.
Yeah, I was just talking about exit points. Yeah, you could have built-in exit points. Some spirits don't want to stay here long. Like I could have come here. I could be on the other side going, I'm going to go here and do this, this, and that. But you know what? Once this is accomplished, I just want out. And I might be able to accomplish that stuff by the time I'm 9 years old. And I want out.
You might be here to help somebody else along the way with their journey, their mission, whatever you want to call it.
There are children. Yeah, and not that this is everything, and I don't want to trigger warning. I want to trigger warning anybody who's ever lost a child. I'm not saying anything. There might be a scenario where the child on the other side, the child says, "I'll come in, and you wanted to learn this. I only want to be there a little while, so I'll come in as your child, and I'm going to leave early so you can do this." And that does happen. There really is never a mistake. There's very few oops. There's very few oopses. There are oopses though, but their oopses are actually divinely planned.
But then we get the question, I'm almost hearing it from somebody listening to this, and why bother coming if your life is all planned? Your life isn't all planned.
It's not that planned.
Wait, let me finish it. You jump in there. So the thing is that it's not planned because everybody has a purpose for why they are here. Nobody is here by accident. And I stand firmly on that. We are all here. Do we have reasons why we come here? Absolutely. And we have free will. We also, as I call it, spiritual amnesia, like Kasun was saying, right? That we come in forgetting it all, not remembering it all, but that's also the biggest potential to learn and grow. But we can make the choice to screw it all up. You don't have to do everything that you planned. You're going to go back and take a look at your life with a life review and what did we learn? What did we not? I've heard of people talking about, again, from an NDE about, I might want to try that again in a little bit different perspective because I didn't really accomplish what I had planned to in this lifetime and so on and so forth. Go ahead, Dave.
Yeah. One, life has no built-in meaning. People always say, what's the meaning of life? Whatever your meaning is, whatever you needed to come here for, that's your meaning of life. And what was the other thing I was going to say? It was so important.
You should have just jumped in there. Sorry. David and I love to talk.
No, I forgot what I was going to say. I'll remember in a minute because I was.
So
I was
just
thinking
jump in
about that.
then, okay? Even if I'm
Yeah.
babbling, just jump in.
What
'cause
were
I
you
hate-
talking about before? Because I was going to, and I didn't have to jump in. I just had it in my head. But then I said
I was talking
something
about
different.
exit points. I was talking about, they'll remind us in the chat too. See, we start talking. I almost think we channel some of the stuff when we're doing this show.
Well, actually, every time you open your mouth, half the time you're channeling something anyway. Because, you know,
I said we come here for a reason. We come here for a reason, and that we all have a purpose. We're not here by accident.
That's what I was going to say about contracts. So what Lorilei said is right too. You have a certain thing you want to accomplish, but you can constantly change it as you're going. Did you know that you can change actually how you're going to pass? So if you are someone who is fearful of passing by a bear attack, well, you never have to worry about dying of a bear attack unless the fact that you work in a zoo or you work in a forest or something like that. Or some people go, oh, I don't ever want to die from this or die from that. Well, now that you're conscious of it and you put it out in there and you don't have a fear of it, you're just like, no, that's not something I'm going to accept. Then most likely you won't die of that. There are
there could be a bear around the corner that you weren't expecting.
That's true. I mean, if I don't want to die of a bear attack, I mean, it's not likely. But what if I wanted to die of a bear attack and I lived in the middle of a city? Well, then, you know, maybe I might end up at a zoo one day and the bear escapes.
We get bears here. When you lived in Wisconsin, when you were little, did you ever have bears come into the city? I don't live.
Not but where I live, but where I live now, I mean, there's no bear around here, but there had been years ago.
It's rare, but we get them usually in the spring when the food sources are limited, or in the fall if they haven't hibernated yet.
Yeah, so it's but in a nutshell, though, your life is pretty much something that you tailored for yourself. So I always tell people, if you've gone through some like really, really crappy stuff, I want you to know this. As a side note, you're a super strong, cool person who's been here many, many times before. You would never taken that on. It's kind of like your son, Justin. So Justin has what he has. If you think Justin is new to this earth, you are absolutely.
I have to tell people who Justin is. They might not know. So that's my son with autism.
Justin is her son, and he has autism. And he has a more serious form of autism.
Yes,
not real bad, but it's more serious. Now, he would not have taken this on if he had not been here a billion freaking times before, because that's not something a brand new spirit. That would be someone who is an old soul. I always tell people, those are the people who are trying to cram a lot of learning into one life, because that's really, some spirits do that. They're like, I need to learn everything really quickly just because I want to. And then they'll come in here, they'll maybe be in a war, get their arms and legs shut off. Their wife will leave them. They'll lose 6 children. All their money will be taken away. They'll be poor. And everybody goes, wow, what a terrible life. But when that spirit goes back, they're like, oh, that was really good. I know a lot now. Because whatever happens to you here, you're back to who you really are. Because you're not really, you've never left the spirit world. You're still there.
Exactly.
You're this is just if you can look at this life as I'm having a really cool experience in order to learn something about myself from a different point of view. So I'm learning about David through the eyes of David. Now, I've learned about David through the eyes of a lot of other different people as well. And every time I do that, it all stays with me over there. It's kind of like you get bigger.
We've got 2 good comments here. So the first one I'll just read. Kassoon says, I think people who are genuinely happy, loving, and intelligent are the ones who have gone through hell. I think there's no way around that. I do believe there is a way around that. And I believe that happiness, especially, and being loving are choices. They're always choices. And it's up to you with your thoughts, again, your emotions and what was thoughts, emotions, and words, sorry. And when you've been through hell, and I know you may have been talking about from a past life even, okay, or even even this lifetime, right? It doesn't matter how many past lives you've had, if they were negative or not, or if your life is negative now or not. You get to decide every morning you wake up what kind of day it's going to be. And I know I've talked about this on my other show, and we've all done this, myself included. You wake up one morning, you oversleep, the alarm's off, you got an appointment you got to go to, you run out, the car doesn't start, and then maybe you stub your toe, and there's a bunch of things that happen in the morning. What do we say? Oh, great. Now the whole day is going to be like this.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't have to be that
It
way.
doesn't have to be.
Literally,
No.
and I have done this. Nope, that's it. Nope. Basically, clear, renew. The rest of the day is going to be amazing. And I plan it that way. Now, is it always? No, because I'm not in control of everything that happens, but it is a choice of how I feel and what I think, and including my emotional state. Go ahead, Dave. You're going to jump in there.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell Lorilei that's absolutely correct, and I'm gonna give you another example that just happened to me yesterday. So I was in a pretty decent mood when I woke. I'm usually always in a decent mood. It takes a lot to really like. Lorilei and I, we both have some personal life that would curl people's hair, but we tend to just go through life going, well, we can't let that affect us all day long. But anyway, I woke up. I was in an okay mood. I went to go outside for something, and when I shut my door, I shut it on my finger. I had a huge bruise, and I just held my finger, and I said, damn it, damn it, damn it. And then I said, okay. I just started laughing. I'm like, oh my God, David, you're such a jerk. Learn how to close the door. And then I went back outside, and I looked at my finger, and it was bleeding a little bit and all that, but I'm like, oh, whatever. And it went away. Now, I made the conscious choice to go, I don't have time for this crap. I could sit here, hold my hand for 3 hours, call up 6 people and go, I just slammed my finger in the door and everything's done and my whole day is ruined. You can do that, or you can go, you know what? It was funny. I learned a lesson. I'm going to move on. We are in control of how we react to something all the time. Mm-hmm. Yep. If somebody says something bad to you, one, you should thank them for that. Oh, cool. You just told me exactly who you were, so I don't have to deal with you. It's no longer a surprise. You're a jerk. I love it. Now just get away from me, Or you can choose to be a victim, or you can choose to overcome what they said, or you could take something that they said and use it to make yourself better. Mm-hmm. You have a choice in everything you do. There isn't one emotion that you have to have at all. Mm-hmm. That's why some people are afraid, and some, like 5 people can walk into a haunted house. 3 of them will be really, really afraid. 2 of them will go, oh, this is exciting. Mm-hmm. So it's just how you're reacting to something.
And one thing I want to add to, there is no wrong or right way what we're sharing with you. It's just remember, and I truly believe this, I know Dave does too, like attracts like energy. So when we choose to think more loving, positive, thoughts like that, that's the type of energy we're going to draw to us. Now, I wanted to read Michelle's comment. She says,
real quick. It just came back in what I was going to say before. It's real quick. So there's 2 very, very important days. And this is what I've learned. And I kind of go by this. There's 2 very important days, times that happen to you in this life. That's the day you were born and the day you remember who you are. Mm-hmm. Those are the 2 most important days. You're born, and then you spend most of your life really trying to remember who you are, seeing things from every different life. And when you remember, you're like, oh, this is a breeze now. Now this is a breeze. Awesome. There's still challenges, but it's more fun now. Yeah.
Okay, that was needed to be said, because you're right about that. And we always get so talking here. I forgot. I got to remind you guys, if you're just tuning in, you're listening to the thing at the foot of the bed on 105.3 FM out of Mississippi and 107.7 out of New Orleans, Louisiana. And we are broadcasting to you from UFO Paranormal and United Public Radio Network. So thank you for joining us. I'm one of your hosts, Lorilei Potvin, and my good friend and amazing co-host David Hanzel are here with you. So Michelle Wilfong says, I've learned to call upon spirits or ghosts that reside in my apartment. How do I know which ones are connected to me and which ones are connected to the property? I'm jumping in, Dave. I'm jumping in first. I know you're ready. First of all, does it matter? Second of all, I mean, when you say connected to me, do you mean are they family members, or do you mean that they're there because you're there, or what ones are connected to the property? And the reason I got to keep saying is why would that be important to you? Unless my thing would be, how do you feel when you're around them? Are you having activity? Is it negative? If it's negative, well, there's people out there that can help you with that. And I don't know, Dave, jump in there if you want. I kind of just went blank with that. I think you'd need a little
No,
bit.
that's okay. That's okay. There's so much about this, just what she said.
Yeah, that's why
So I've learned to call upon spiritual ghosts that reside in my apartment. How do I know which ones are connected to me and which ones are connected to the property? Two things you got to ask yourself. One, if they are connected to you, they're going to have a familiarity. So you're like, oh, I know this spirit. It feels familiar. So it is connected to me. Although anybody that is in your house that you are talking to, you already know ahead of time you were going to talk to them. Otherwise, you would have no way. People just, ghosts and spirits don't even come in willy-nilly. Even the one time when you were a child, back when you were 3 years old, you walked into the room and, oh my God, I saw a shadow and it went away. You only saw that once your entire life, but that shadow figure might be someone you knew that you needed to see in order for that to propel you for something in your life. The third thing is exactly what Lorilei said, which a guide says to me all the time. Does it matter? I mean,
well, plus, how does it make you feel? Because if it's a loved one, if that's what you mean by connected to you, first of all, if it's something positive, it's never going to tell you what you need to do, what you should do, or go do it. Second of all, you will tell the difference. If it's something loving, if you say it's connected to you, it's a family member you're connected to, they're on the other side, right? You're going to feel good about it. You'll know by the way you feel, first of all. But if you're having problems in your home and you're not able to discern, there are people out there that can help you. I do this once in a while. David's worked with paranormal people. We know people that do this kind of stuff. Then maybe reach out and get somebody to come in and help you with it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's almost like when you're talking to anything on the other side, especially, okay, if it was like if people say, my guide, what does my guide do? Okay, one, your guides are not going to literally draw out the steps for what you do next. That's not how guides work. That's not what their job is. Their job is to guide you. So when you are asking for something or want something, you have to pay attention to where they're kind of nudging you. So you might get like that feeling of, go walk into that crowd over there, because you might, they know that they want you to walk into that crowd because they know that somebody's going to say something and you're going to overhear it. That's going to give you the answer to something you've been asking a question about. So they will get you to go over there. They do their best work when they show you how to remember yourself or who you are. That's pretty much what the guides are there for.
Now, you know what else, though, Dave, I wanted to add quickly, and Spirit just gave me this. I had somebody who's been on my show. She was on Monday night, but she's been on, I think, when I first came to the network. It's going on 5 years in July here, you guys. It's flew by. But I love what she said. She said, because she was talking about how to communicate with your guides as well as your loved ones on the other side. And what she said, so this sort of answers your question, Contessa. If you want to know what loved one it is, or if they're connected to you, you can ask for, her name's Carol Obley, she said their calling card, their signature calling card, so that you will know who it is. So say Uncle Frank passed away, but Uncle Frank always smoked a pipe, and it was a certain type of tobacco he used. He could maybe give you that smell when he's around, and you're going to say, oh, that's Uncle Frank. Also, always, and there's something else I forgot to add, you do need to be grounded when you're connecting with the other side. Okay, that's number one, tantamount, paramount. Working on your chakras or energy centers. There's many different ways to do this, but definitely being grounded in the right state of mind, like attracts like energy, remember. But also, if you want to know if they're connected to you, I thought that was a beautiful thing she suggested, and I give credit where credit's due. So that came from Carol Obley. Go ahead.
Yeah, that is true, because all the people in my family, they have calling cards. Most of them, they do a certain thing, and I'm like, I know that's my brother. I know that's my grandmother Hanzel. I know that's my grandmother Lo. I know that's my uncle. I know that's my best friend. Yeah, I just know when they do those things. So yeah, that is absolutely true. And what she says about grounding, you guys, listen, even when you are connecting to the other side, you have to be fully present in your moment. And in order to be in your moment, you are living a physical life on this earth. So you've got to feel the ground is beneath me. I'm an inhabitant of the earth, and I'm also connected to spirit. So you'll have a lot better connection. It'll make more sense. When we're all airy fairy sometimes, it kind of seems that when the people are the more airy fairy people are, like when you always say Laura Lee, Laura Lee always says this. I can always tell where people are on their spiritual journey by things they ask. And that's true.
And I say paranormal too.
And so now that's not saying ask what you want. We don't sit here and judge you. We're just saying everybody knows. You just kind of know by how people act or what they think or how they feel or where they got their information from. But yeah, to be grounded here and talk to the other side, I don't know why people don't do it more often. You guys, if you could have a camera in my house, they could probably do a whole reality show of just me walking around my house talking. Because
me too.
I talk nonstop all day long. I am talking to guides. I am talking to Jesus. I am talking to myself. I'm talking to my freaking cats. I'm talking to everything.
I talk to my dog all day long. I do. Well, she's in here right now. She's sound asleep, so I won't say her name. I'll spell it Emmie. And I say, well, what do you think of this? Do you think we should go do this? I kind of run downstairs constantly. I'd be a pretty boring reality show to watch, I think. Okay, so Kasoon says, oh, go ahead, Dave. Sorry.
I was looking at Michelle Wilfong's questions, but go ahead.
Okay.
I had an answer to it. So.
Sorry?
I had an answer to it. So we can do that after Kasoon.
Oh, I'll go there first. Hang on. We'll go there first if you had an answer from her.
It's a quick answer.
So, Michelle, I'm so sorry for your loss. She said, I have my husband's ashes in the closet. I'll have to be careful with what I say in here, so I'm not being disrespectful. Okay. She said he OD'd in 2009, and I'm wondering if he's angry because he left too soon. Then she says, I have negative, but it's mostly positive and protective. So David says he has an answer for you.
Yes.
So
in my belief systems and how it works, no, he's not angry at all.
That's what I was going to say.
He has nothing to know. He's all cool with it all. He knows exactly what happened. He's gone through it. He's done all those things, so he's not angry. Sometimes, and Laura Lee has stated this before, if you've had negative stuff and it's around like your husband, and like some people might confuse it thinking that's the husband being angry, and it's not. What happens is sometimes you might have some feelings, and I'm not blaming you. You might have some undone feelings. When we feel those feelings can actually turn into something, okay? They can turn into, let's call it a little negative bubble. And that little negative bubble almost takes on a life of its own because you gave it life. So, and that bubble comes back, and it might just be showing you this is something that you need to come to terms with possibly. But trust me, your husband's fine. And I'm sure he doesn't feel bad where he is, but I can tell you that he understands that leaving when he left there's better ways to have handled that situation. And that, of course, he misses you and wishes that wouldn't have been, in a human sense.
I'm going to add to that.
I don't think that's him. He's not upset. And I think that just might be some negative energy that's around that you just want to kind of deal with somehow.
The other thing I'm going to add is I just love how shows do this when we start talking about these type of things. The whole thing kind of forms itself around an idea, if you will.
Just like the thing I was saying about the negative, it forms something.
But that's a different thing. But David is right, about that type of thing, that energy can take on a life of its own. But where I'm going with this is, if we look at things from a human perspective, like I had seen, there was a comment earlier about, do people choose to become serial killers and what? We could do a whole show on that. But where I'm going with this is we're looking at this from a human perspective. And to us, that's not right. Say if somebody chose to come in from a soul contract, soul perspective, and choose to have that kind of life. But when we go back home, okay, we're not who we are. And I've heard Jennifer Malik say this. We've said it for years. David said it for years. Many people have said it for years, is we are an everlasting soul, an energy, whatever you want to call us. Okay. We are eternal. Right now, in this place and time right now, all of us here, anybody listening, everybody in the world, we're just choosing to have a human experience in the lifetime that we're in. Once we've completed, for whatever reason we're here, and we go back home, we are nothing but love. Love isn't even there isn't even a word in any language to explain the love. Okay, so they can express, maybe, I mean, as mediums, we've talked to people, maybe an ending didn't end so well, or people are worried, is this person mad at me, is that, or spirit may apologize for their behavior, say, as who they were in this lifetime, but they're always coming from a place of love.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Always.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, remember, the opposite of love is not hate, it's fear.
Yes, it is.
When there is no love, there's fear. So whenever you're fearing something, there's a lack of love in the situation someplace all the time.
I'm going to answer this. Go ahead.
Yeah.
So finish what you're going to say, Dave, and then I'll answer this.
No,
Go ahead.
that's all I was going to say. Go ahead and answer that question.
Okay, Kasoon, you said, to be honest, I think if you're forcing, I never once said forcing, if you're forcing yourself to be happy, I said it was a choice. And loving while you're going through hell, that's superficial happiness. When happiness comes down and lands in your lap on its own, that's genuine. That's not what I'm talking about. You can't force yourself to be happy if you are unhappy. But what you can do is look into, how can I shift, heal, graduate into eventually changing my thought processes, why I'm unhappy, working on healing mind, body, and spirit. Okay? I'm not telling you to run around and pretend you're happy. That would be ingenuine, and it's probably going to cause a lot more damage. But getting down to the root of exactly why you are so unhappy, I'm not saying you, because I'm using the global you, why you are so unhappy, why you are miserable, why you are looking at life from a perspective of hell. And I'm not calling it wrong. That's somebody that's in a lot of pain, okay? Emotional, physical, spiritual, but getting help in any way you can, or taking a look at, where is this coming from? Why am I feeling this way? And what can I do about it if I really want to shift it? So I wanted to clarify that, because I never once said to force yourself to be happy. So I'm sorry if anybody might have misunderstood that. Go ahead, Dave. I knew you're going to add more.
You can't force yourself to be happy, but you can choose to fix something. So if you're not happy, you can stay in the not happiness, and you can wallow in that if you want. And that's okay. If that's your thing, do it. Whatever you need to do to advance. But I always tell people, what we were trying to say is, we always have a choice. The choice doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to be happy no matter what. Yeah, you can try to make that choice, but you can say, okay, I'm not happy with this, but I'm going to choose to find out why, so I can be happy. And so
sometimes you need to work with somebody else, and there are people that charge for it. There are people that do this kind of work for free. There are, find somebody that resonates with you, that you're able to work with. Maybe you need to work with a physician. Whatever your belief system is and what the issue is, it's up to you, should you want your life to shift, about how am I going to make that happen. And Kathy says, but fear is an illusion. And I agree. I was just looking up what that fear stands for. I did that. I seen it before. What does, I'm going to type this in, stand for, because it was so cool. Stand for, hang on. False evidence appearing real. That's what fear is. And I thought that was such a cool anagram for what fear is.
If you have that, let's go back to the bear.
Hi,
if there's a big bear in front of you. If there's a big old bear in front of you and it's licking his chops, and you have fear in you, that's real fear. And you really can't choose to go, a silly person would go, I'm not going to fear that bear. I'm going to choose to extend my hand and shake hands with them.
Yeah, but we've never said, right, that to disregard fear. Fear has its place, just like anything. Your ego has its place. Everything is here for a reason. Hi, Jennifer M.
Yeah, the fear thing. Yeah, it's true. Fear is whenever like that, and that is true. Even with the bear, if you saw the bear and you're fearing it, that's because there's an absence of love, and there is an absence of love there, because the bear is having a physical life and you're having a physical life, and there could be something bad that happens. So if there is no love, if there was love there, then that bear would have been a trained bear and you would have been a bear handler and would have been able to walk up to it. But since there isn't, yes, the whole illusion thing it is true. Pretty much all of our emotions are kind of illusionary because you don't really need.
But we come here for that, Dave. We come
we
to
do.
experience all these emotions.
And once you understand that, it makes it all, it makes it a lot easier. It really does.
It does. And you guys, I don't want to make it sound like we're so perfect and we don't go through the things of anybody that anybody else is.
I go through hell in a handbag sometimes.
We go through that. You know what? And I do healing work. But I had a healing session this weekend for Mother's Day. And it was Psych K, and it went right from the birth of myself right up to where I am now, and looking at belief systems and things that I'd gone through and what. And I'm a work in progress. David's a work in progress. We all are. And we're not saying that anything anybody's sharing here is right or wrong. Again, it goes back to being discerning. What resonates with you with what we're sharing and what doesn't. And if it doesn't, that's okay too. It's perfectly okay.
This is the one time where you can pick and choose whatever you need. It's whatever you need to advance who you are. And I would say, if whatever you do is for the good of you and all involved, you're doing the right thing.
You can't go wrong. If you're trying to come from a place of love, and exactly what you said.
Yeah.
And we're not saying that life is all love and wonderful and we're back in the age. It's hard.
You know what? For people who walk around this earth and like some of the quantum healers, and I'm not saying anything against quantum healers. I love all you quantum healers, but I've run into some and they talk about this stuff sometimes. I just want to go, really?
It might resonate with some people though, right? Like
it does. I kind of don't like it for myself. I don't want everything to be all rosy and all that. Sometimes I like a little this, that, the other thing.
We would never learn if life was, and Julia said we are all works in progress. I certainly am. Hi, Dan Patterson's just dropping in. But that's what I'm trying to say. Okay. And when we face these difficult, painful, really tragic things in our lifetime, for example, we then, once we work through the grief process, and I don't think grief ever goes away after time. Eventually, a different type of, if you will, normal starts to grow around it. Okay,
it really does.
But we have a choice with what we do with this. I can tell you, for example, and again, I'm not trying to cause any trauma for anybody that might have gone through this, and my heart goes out to anybody that has gone through this. Somebody has a child that was unalived by a monster. We'll call them a monster. Are they a monster? No. And again, I'm using that because I know it'll resonate. But my point is, I have seen, and I know we all have, some incredible things that have happened that have been life-changing around the world. Yeah. And for people and countries, by parents who have experienced this because they made the choice that through their pain, whether it was, I don't ever want to see another parent go through what I went through, or they get laws changed. And that's just one example. But from that pain, you have a choice with what you want to do with it. What did I learn from it? What can I take from this? And again, I'm going to use the parents as an example. The utmost pain that a person could ever go through is to lose a child. But by taking that pain and turning it into meaningfulness and something that can help so many people, or say choosing to donate somebody's organs, for example, helping through your tragedy, you are changing how many people's lives. You're coming from a place of love. But if life was all rosy and lovey-dovey and we're all rainbows and unicorn poop and the life is just beautiful, you're never going to learn because you have no impetus for change. You're going to keep
I agree with you. I do. I like the contrast. I mean, we came to an earth that is heavily polarized. We're probably one of the most polarizing places that there is. There is an opposite. There's a good and bad for everything. And it all serves its purpose. Somebody had asked earlier, so do people actually come here to be takers of life and all that?
I referenced that, but you want me to go back to that, Dave?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I think it's a good
That's a
content.
good topic. It's a good
Okay, so you want to read it? Go ahead, and then I know you'll jump in first. I'll jump in.
hold on. I got a lot of hair going on. No, my hair, it's hot in here, so my hair's getting like sticking to me. So you're saying that even the evil, bad people that do horrific acts choose to come here just to do this and hurt others. I don't think people literally are over there going, I'm going back to Earth so I can kill everybody. That's no, not like that. There could be, and this happens. So
this is the second part.
This is something that I had learned, and it's kind of part of my belief system, and I understand
It's hard to wrap your mind around it, right, David, when you first hear this?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really difficult. So I could, let's say I am a bad person. Something went wrong during my lifetimes, and I've done a lot of bad things, a lot of mistakes, and I pass away and I go back over there. I can choose not to review anything I did and just come back here again. I can. There is free will. You can do what you want. So that person is going to come back here, and they're going to still be in the same mindset and probably repeat everything over. When they go back, they're going to be in a place that's not very pleasant. It's not hell or anything, but they haven't gone through everything. They haven't fixed everything. You see, you can't go through certain spaces without certain understandings. It's the same like if you're in kindergarten, you can't go from kindergarten to 12th grade. You have to go all the grades all the way there in order to get there, everybody. And once you're at 11th grade, you can go back through kindergarten, 1st, 5th, 6th, up to 11th. You can always go back, but you can't go forward without learning it. So some people are going to do it that way, or some people may have been a bad person in one life and did some bad things. And now when you go back, you need to go, well, I did these bad things and I don't quite understand how I made these people feel. I understand how I made this person feel, but not how I made the people around them feel that I took their life. So you go back there and you might belong to a family now where everybody's life gets taken and you have to go through that now. So it's all about understanding is what it is.
Well, what I'm going to say too, we don't always know the reasons, and it's a good question. So Contessa also added, I guess my point is we come from a place of love. Why choose that kind of life path? Sorry, these questions pop up and I get curious. Thank you for answering my questions. By the way, love your answers. Thank you. Everybody's been putting such great feedback in here. We really appreciate it. We are almost out of time. We got another 5-6 minutes, you guys. It goes by so quick. So yes, we do come from a place of love. Okay. And we will return to love, but we come here to experience life. And in life here, we get to experience the breadth and depth of emotions. The other thing is when somebody does something that awful, when they take other people's lives and we look at it, and I just said monster, and there's many times, even though I'm talking about this, I've looked at someone and said, my goodness, how could you be such a monster from my human perspective? What I'm trying to say is we don't know that person's life. Hurt people hurt people. I know it's a cliche thing, but it is. We don't know their life. We don't know what they've gone through. We don't know why they are who they are. Could be mental health issues. Could be a chemical imbalance. It could be many reasons why that person chose. And they might have chose, for all you know, any one of us could have chose to take that path. But when we got here, we decided that no, like maybe those thoughts were going through somebody's head. They're not going through mine. I'm sure they're not going through Dave's or anybody. I'm saying there could be people out there that this type of thing is going through their head, for example. And they have decided that, no, I don't want to do that. Even though they might have chose to come into this lifetime and do it. You don't have to do it. But my point is too, you learn from these experiences. And this is going to sound really messed up. You don't know if maybe you contracted with the individual who agreed that you were going to take their life because of what maybe they wanted that experience. I know it sounds messed up from a human perspective, or maybe by that happening, what their family was going to do with the choice of what had happened there. It's so big to look at. But the thing is, there's many reasons. It's not that clear cut and dried.
Yeah, it's not. There are literally endless scenarios. And there's an old saying that you'll stop coming back to this earth when you go and live everybody's life.
Mm-hmm.
When you've had everybody's life. So it's, and which I want to quick address, and I know we don't have a lot of time, but I'm going to throw it out there because maybe we'll talk about it next time. There's this group of people I was watching on TikTok who are training people how when they pass not to go into the light, because when they go into the light, it's the reincarnation cycle.
Yes, I've heard that. Yeah,
and it's the funniest, hilarious thing I ever heard from a near-death experiencer. It's like, that's hilarious.
Some people, but there are people who choose not to, quote unquote, go into the light because of religious dogma and fear of persecution. Because of thoughts of revenge or thoughts of materialism, and they don't want to leave what they've got here. We did have spooky videos lined up for y'all. I guess we're going to be doing it next week. You guys want to go with this show? Yeah,
and then too, you got to look at it this way too. The light and all that. That's set up by a mass consciousness, by an oversoul consciousness, because that's just how we transition. Did you know there are other planets and there are other beings who, when they pass, they don't go through the light. They don't have a light.
I've heard of near-death experiencers that have never gone through a tunnel.
I didn't go through the tunnel. Yeah, I didn't have to. See, it threw me off. I didn't go through the tunnel. But my first question was, where am I from, or what is this? And they showed me the light. I saw it from the side. And it wasn't until I talked to other people who said, oh my gosh, we saw it from the side too. We didn't have to go into it. I'm like, no, there's no reason for me to go into it. But it all depends on the person. It really, nobody really knows. All I know is this. One day you're going to close your eyes, open them, and you're going to be who you are still. Mm-hmm. That's it. You're never not going to be. You're just never not going to be. That's impossible.
And Gwen Patterson added, you can't go forward without learning it. Hang on. He goes, we know you were at work. We're glad you're popping in. Yeah. Gwen said, you can't go forward without learning it. She says, I felt that. Michelle Wilfong says, thank you both. Help me understand more every week that I watch and I learn from you both. And many of you have left great comments. I guess, Dave, we got to bow out of here. Well, we might have another minute or so, but.
Well, it's going to take me like 10 minutes to say where we're from.
No, it won't. Okay, but what I do want to say to y'all, please stay tuned, because it's the second night of the Outer Realm with Michelle DeRoche and Amelia Pisano. And there is something crazy going on with StreamYard. I have never seen this. That's why we were late tonight. It said the system was overloaded and busy. So that's why we couldn't get on. So hang in there. I hope StreamYard got it fixed. They said they were working on it. So if they're not right on at their usual time, hang in there, okay? Because that's why we were a few minutes late. We got it working. Right, Dave?
Yep, exactly.
So go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, I'm going to just start a little early. Anybody who's watching right now, please stay tuned for Michelle DeRosa after here in the next in their episode. Also, join our Facebook group. The thing at the foot of the bed with Lorilei Potvin. Now my mouth isn't working. I caught
it from you.
Virus. Yeah. Join our Facebook group, The Thing at the Foot of the Bed with Lorilei Potvin and David Hanzel on Facebook. If you would like to get hold of me, you can go to my website. TheyWhisperToMe.com is the only place to get hold of me. I never, ever DM people. Anybody who DMs you and says it's me, they're fake. Please follow me on Facebook at The Spirit Experience, and YouTube, The Spirit Experience, and Instagram and TikTok at Medium David Hanzel, spelled just like that. Medium David Hanzel. No slashes, no numbers, no nothing. Go ahead, Lorilei.
Okay. Everybody's saying thanks and good night. We're also glad y'all could be here. We didn't show any videos tonight because normally if we do, like Dave says, and we've said before, we put the links in the group for you guys. So for people that are listening or on the replay, you guys can go there and get the links and watch the videos, because we do try to explain them, but we understand if you're listening, you can't very well see it. So If you ever want to get a hold of me, you can get a hold of me on facebook.com/Angel I am working on my website because I've had so many people go there. I don't usually get it out. It needs to be updated so badly. So, but that's the easiest way. That's my business page right now on Facebook, The Angel Rock. You can also get a hold of me, though. The fastest and easiest way is on Facebook Messenger. I usually answer pretty quick on there. It pops up on my phone right away. My profile's public, so pretty well anybody can message me. I do have 2 groups on Facebook, Paranormal University for all things paranormal, and the Angel Rocker Tribe for more things spiritual, like what Dave and I were talking about. And just so you know, I think we're at 104 in the group. We just started it probably about 6 weeks ago. So when we get to 200, and I know David said this earlier, but just to remind you, Dave and I are going to start going live in there. We're going to be answering questions like this, giving free one question readings and what. So we need to get to 200, y'all. So share the group so we can get there. Also, I never message anybody either, soliciting readings or just like David. The best way, you just go to my page and message me, and that's how you get a hold of me. Don't forget to tune into the Angel Rock Monday night from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I believe I am having on, if I remember correctly, Alfred Labramont Weber. He's actually a good friend with the owner of the network, Joe Montaldo. Thank you, Joe, for providing this awesome space for us. And yeah, I think that's everything, eh, Dave? Don't forget LakeSuperiorParacon.com for the tickets to come see us here in October. We'd love to have you.
Yes, and like and share this and tell your friends and watch us every week. And remember, once again, go into our group. You can write down what you want us to talk about. You can give us ideas. You can tell us about your experiences. We would love to hear them.
We had a completely different show planned for you guys. We always do, but we always pivot wherever you guys want to go with the questions or whatever you want to talk about. We are more than happy to do that because we're very grateful for all of you.
Yes, very, 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 very grateful.
So stay spooky and
stay spooky, you guys. And you know what? We're going to try to say it again. It never works, but we're going to try. And that is 1, 2, 3. What's at the front of your bed?
I started too soon.
Oh, I started too late. I don't even know. Oh my God.
One of these days we will hit it dead on. We love y'all. Stay tuned for the Outer Realm, you guys. We'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Have a good one.